And it really connects with, for those of you who have met with me already for a coaching session, there'll be some things in here that will really resonate with what we've talked about individually. For those of you who have not, you'll be all the more prepared when we meet and we can talk about some of the stuff that I'll be bringing up. So, a small introduction. You guys met me already. My name is Teniesha. I am a native to the Red Rocks. I grew up here since I was 2, and I love it, as I just said. I have a lot of different experiences that have brought me to the place that I am now. And probably so far you've noticed a lot of the providers, a lot of the staff, we all have experiences that hopefully you guys feel like you can relate to, that you guys are not alone, that you guys are working with people that have experienced a lot of the things that you guys are feeling right now. So that is my position, and I am super grateful for what I've been through in the way that it has blessed my life to be who I am and what I'm doing right now. So I want to talk about emotional empowerment. Most of the time, we are noticing the physical symptoms of whatever it is that our bodies are portraying, right? We get tired, we're chronically fatigued, we've got different pieces and aches and pains that are getting to us, and sometimes it's all mental and emotional. But when we learn how to empower ourselves from the inside, we'll see a lot of those chronic pieces start to change. It just takes a shift in what we're doing to actually observe how we are going about each of the things that bring us some of those past traumas, some of the biological pieces that flare up for us. So we're going to look at that today in emotional empowerment and hopefully get really vulnerable with yourselves. I'm going to get pretty vulnerable, so I hope that you can kind of just internally start to be vulnerable with yourself in this whole process. And remember that our physical health and our mental health is more than skin deep. So we're going to take a little bit of a dive in there. I get to introduce you. You guys, some of you saw my boyfriend. I have a boyfriend now. It's really cool. I know. I feel like I'm 18 again. It's so weird. But my muse, this is my muse, and one of the greatest teachers I have ever had in my life. This is my late husband. He passed away almost 10 years ago. And he has been the basis of the learning and growth that I have had. And I haven't gotten serious with someone in almost 10 years, so it's a big deal that I have a boyfriend. So come on in, Allison. I'm so glad you're here. I love it. So some of the experiences that I went through in my marriage, it was very, very short-lived. I was only married for 3 years, and it was not fun. It was not a fun marriage. It was a very hard marriage. My late husband struggled with the disease of drug addiction, and he had been sober for almost 4 years when we got married. He was doing amazing. I knew him my whole life, you guys. I have known this guy since I was in elementary school. He was one of my younger brother's best friends, right? I was one of those people. But I had a crush on all of my brother's best friends except for him. And I told him that. I'm like, I had a crush on all of Cam's friends except for you. But look what happened. So, yeah, he was pretty proud of that one. I learned a lot from him. We got married in June of 2013, but he relapsed in July. So I never had a marriage with the sober, beautiful, clear-minded person I fell in love with. I had a marriage with a beautiful person who struggled with a horrible disease. And
did you feel like when you first met him, like, oh, I know how to help you, or oh, like, I can fix you?
I wasn't in that frame of mind because my brother, his best friend, also struggles with drug addiction. So I was very aware of the struggle. In fact, I fought the feelings that I was having quite a bit at the beginning. I was like, what the crap? I am not going to feel this way around him. I know what he struggles with. I don't want to get that. And he'd been sober he'd lost almost 100 pounds. He'd gotten, as you can tell, quite delicious. But he worked really hard, and he'd gotten himself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually in a place that was what was making him such a beautiful human being. And like I said, I'd already known him for a long time, so I knew who he was, but I had never gotten to know him on a deeper level, and that's a story for another time, but it's a cool one. My first kiss with him was in jail. But it's...
How long was he sober for before he relapsed?
Almost 4 years.
4 years?
Yeah, so not, I mean, you think that's great, you know, but it's still, it's a decision they make every single day. It's a daily decision. So when he relapsed, it's funny because you go into it and I knew that there was a possibility. I wasn't naive to the fact that he would not struggle or not have, you know, problems here and there. I did not expect it 3.5 weeks later after we'd gotten married. I did not expect it that fast. So I was very blindsided when he relapsed. And like I said, we were married for almost 3 years. He could never get completely clean. We had a baby, and she was just shy of 2 when he passed away of a heroin and cocaine overdose. And so,
was it like laced with fentanyl? Just because I only asked because a situation I was in a relationship, and I knew I couldn't save him, but like it turns out I found out more about the story and like how he passed away, and like his parents found him 20 minutes too late, but they later found that the heroin he was doing was laced with other drugs.
you know what, I don't know. In the autopsy, it just says cocaine and heroin.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't doubt it. I had him in the hospital. He'd OD'd the night before, and I'd had him in the hospital the night before, and we'd just gotten home that morning, and I knew that I mean, my daughter's almost 2, and I was like, I gotta go. So we were driving down here, and he passed away that next day. So it was rough, but when someone struggles, and some of you I know directly are connected to this, some of you know people, and that's why I like to talk about it. I know it's hard, so please just take deep breaths and know that I'm here, and there's someone who directly knows what's going on. I knew that I had to make a change. Now, something that happens with someone who struggles with the drug addiction is they isolate, right? They isolate themselves from people that they love. They isolate themselves from things that they love and like to do. Now, I was blindsided. I was angry. I was resentful. I was mad, and I was extremely sad. You guys, I didn't get married till I was 35 years old, okay? I was a 35-year-old virgin, right? I had waited, and I felt super gypped, right? I was so mad. And so I carried a lot of that. So what I started to do was I started to isolate as well, okay? And in the time, that 3-year time period, I had changed so many of the things that could have been incredible tools for me during this space of time. And that's what I want to talk about today, because I had empowering tools that I could have been using on a daily basis, and I wasn't, because I was too stuck in the sad, the disappointed, the depressed part of me, that I wasn't open to seeing and being connected to the piece that I could actually pull empowerment from, that didn't have anything to do with him. It didn't have anything to do with me. It had absolutely everything to do with my ability to connect with what I already love to do. Okay? So we're going to talk about that. Because prior to getting married, you guys, I am the Energizer Bunny, if you haven't noticed. I was born that way. I don't take anything. I've never done a drug in my entire life, right? So it's just the way I've been wired. I have been the Energizer Bunny my whole life. I love to move. In fact, when I was a baby, check this out. When I was a baby, I did not fall asleep to nursery rhymes or lullabies. I fell asleep to Donna Summer. Does anyone remember Donna Summer? Some of you youngsters won't. If you don't know her, look her up. Donna Summer, she was a pop disco queen of the 70s and 80s, okay? I not only fell asleep to her as an infant, but my dad had to hold me and dance with me to Donna Summer. That's how I fell asleep as a baby, right? Huge warning signs for my parents. Huge, right? I love to move. It spoke to me. It was a mental and emotional connecting piece for me. I had to have it. As a kid, I hated to go to bed. Most kids don't like going to bed. But you guys, I went through the same routine every night up until I was almost 13. I was so scared of the dark. I hated being by myself in my bed. And I would get so scared. Freddy Krueger was coming, right? Like he was there. I was going to be killed every night, basically. So I would just throw kind of a fit. It was all made up. Mom, Dad, Kim, even my brother. I can't sleep. Will you guys come in here? Will someone come in? I'd whine until one of them would come in and they'd sit down or they'd lay down next to me and fall asleep or let me fall asleep. They were suckers, right? One night my dad had it and he came in and he said, I was doing my thing. And he came in and he said, get up. And I was like, what? This is not the usual routine, right? He said, get up, we're going in the garage. And I was like, why? This is weird. We get in the garage and he hands me a jump rope. I said, jump? I was like, Dad, this is dumb. Jump. So I kept him. I was like 10. Oh. Yeah. So I kept jumping. And Dad, I'm getting to keep jumping, right? I jumped for about 10 minutes, which is a long time for a jump rope, right? You guys, my dad is a genius because you know what I was saying to him before this whole thing worked out? I said, Dad, I am tired. Can I go to bed? I went into my room and he went into his. He had found what I needed to just be able to go to bed. I needed more. And I grew up in the day, you guys, when we would ride bikes, climb trees, dig holes. Like we weren't at home. We were out and about all day long, but it was not enough for me. I needed more. So my parents had me involved in all kinds of sports and activities, but there was one thing that was my mojo, was my mix, and that was dance. Guys, I love to dance. It is my favorite medicine. It is. See, you know it. Then you know what it feels like. It was my thing, and it spoke to me, and it released me mentally and emotionally, and I did not realize the incredible tool that it was for me until I had lost my husband to an overdose. Okay? Now, when we were married and I was isolating and he was isolating, I would go out on walks. He and I were really active together before we got married. Like I said, he'd worked really hard. He'd lost a lot of weight. He was in perfect shape. And we would go out and do some of the funnest things. Like we were really active. We really enjoyed being in the gym and doing all that stuff. And it just disappeared once he started getting sick again. He gained the weight back. I was mad always, and I would go out on walks and stuff, but I never dared leave my baby alone. He was never mean to her, never hurt. You just never knew where he was at, you know? And so it was very scary for me, and I was very isolating. And so I started to negate some of the things that were always really important for me to have. So we're going to look at some of those things, what some of those things could be. I call them our R&Rs, not for rest and relaxation, right? That's what it's for, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, I forget. It is for releasing and rebuilding. This is what I want you to write down. So you're going to have your R&R, my R&Rs, and then write release and rebuild. Because we're going to start to identify what some of our R&R activities are, okay? For me, like I said, dancing was something that brought me release. It brought me confidence. It brought me joy that I couldn't get any other way, you guys. I was doing some really great things when my husband was active in his drug addiction. I was going to group therapy. It helped a ton. Yeah, kind of. There was through my church, we had like a family support similar to that. So I was doing that. I was going to individual therapy sessions. Great. It was perfect. I needed that. But there was always something missing. And I did not realize or understand what it was until, like I said, we're going to get to that. Okay? So I want you to write down at least 2. I want you to think about some of the things that you enjoy doing. And it can be anything, you guys. It doesn't have to be this big passion from the womb, right? It can just be something small, like putting a puzzle together. Or
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you feel that this stuff is innate in us, or is it things
no,
that we?
it's anything. That's why I'm wanting you to brainstorm for just a second right now. Anything that yes, think about when you were a kid. What were some of the things that I loved to do? Or when I was younger and I was not allowing the heaviness to kind of pull me into a space of not doing these things. What was I active in? What do I enjoy? I want you to write one or two, and I want you to write the positive emotion that you connect with when you are engaged in that activity.
And that's the really cool.
There's either
We enjoy is the rebuild, right?
yes, okay. So, and I'm so glad you brought that up, Madison, because when we do something that releases and rebuilds, some things do give us both, right? It releases emotions, it releases, and then it rebuilds something for us. But oftentimes it may just be the releasing. That is awesome, because if we're releasing something, what's happening once we release something? It's gone, and we now have room for rebuilding. Right? It is so awesome. Two things. I'm going to give you about a minute. I want two things. Something that you like to do, and think about the positive piece that they bring. Is it emotion? What emotions are there? Right? Even if you have to close your eyes and imagine yourself doing that piece. I know, isn't that cool? You really are, RJ.
Twist is like they designed from like tools, but like cartoon. Sorry.
I'll take the good with the bad.
Yeah. Okay,
We'll take them both.
It might not be bad, but at least get injured. So.
I love it. We coming up with some stuff, guys? We got some things coming up? I know it seems simple, but that's the beauty of it. That is the beautiful thing, right? Sometimes the most simple things we make so complicated. Does anyone have one they'd like to share? I'd love to share. Please.
So one of my most favorite things to do is to just randomly cook.
Randomly cook. Oh my gosh, will you come live with me? I do not like to cook.
But, the idea behind it is just flow through my kitchen and just pick random stuff out and see what I can whip up.
Oh, I love it.
And for me, that is a release
Mhm.
of all of the negative emotions
Mhm.
that tamp down my innate creativity.
Yeah.
And it allows me to just put that aside, focus on myself, focus on creativity, and then hopefully, if it turns out well, I can then thank myself for creating such a great meal.
Okay, notice his release pieces, right? Where's the release? What's an emotion that identifies? Remind me your name. Damien, because I didn't get to meet you at the beginning.
Yes, I'm
Thank
sorry.
you so much, Damien. What's the release? He's being artistic, right? He's being creative. What kind of an emotion can we put with that? Beautiful. Now, notice what he said at the end, though. Yes! Oh, you get the fist pump for today, right? Gratitude. You guys, if anything is going to help build our lives in a better direction, it's finding gratitude. And I know we hear that all the time, blah, blah, blah. But I'm so sorry, it's true, right? The place that we need to get ourselves when we're finding gratitude is in a space of release. Because if we are forcing the gratitude, yes, it will still work, but it's a lot harder. If we are initiating the steps to take the release, that's going to be a whole lot more fulfilling to have that gratitude piece afterwards. I love it. Anybody else? I want more. Let's share. Baking. Okay, tell us.
I don't know. I just get that kind of a joy feeling, like when I'm all done and the kitchen is cleaned up, and I just said, "Look what you made."
Yeah. There's the accomplishment piece, right?
Yeah.
I love baking. I just hate the cleanup part.
That's mine too. When you said clean up, I was like, that's the part that makes me feel good.
Stuff is cooking.
That's what
It's
my mom
not
always
as
said.
bad.
Yeah. Yeah. The cleanup's what's hard for me in cooking, period. Okay, so let's find the release piece. What was the release piece? What emotion could you use to identify that?
I think because for me, because I tend to do well like with order and step by step. Um, it just was easier for me to um, complete like a task.
And be present,
Yeah, be present.
right? Who else? Please, Sam.
It was funny when you said not from the womb, but the first one I have is from the womb, I guess.
Horses.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
like to joke around that I've been riding since before I was born because there's like a photo of my mom like 8 months pregnant on her mare Misty.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, so my horses are huge for me. They give me like a great sense of confidence, a lot of happiness. I'm so grateful that they allow me to like be a part of their herd and their community. And there's just like a great sense of connection as well.
So I feel like there's releasing and rebuilding there for you. What's the release piece?
I mean, they definitely release a lot of anxiety. Like, I'm so worried about being judged by others and for these wild animals to accept me for me without makeup or whatever, and fancy clothes. Like, that acceptance is really great.
I like that you chose that for the release, Lisanne. I like that.
Yeah.
The acceptance part. Yeah.
I wasn't going to share, but for me, spending time, it used to be with my nieces, and then my 5-year-old nephew now, and it's obviously he's freaking hilarious, and but I think it's also so I feel present, and it's the only time I feel present. But also with like kids and animals, I can trust them. I don't trust like people
Yeah,
or
same.
or
Yeah.
like but kids, there's no bullshit, there's no BS, there's no agenda.
Yeah.
They just are who they are, and they're
Unconditional.
authentic, and it's unconditional, and I leave. The joy. I just wish I could bring that joy with me all day.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I go out in the street, the real world
Yeah.
goes
It
away a
hits
little
us.
bit. But yeah, but it makes me appreciate it when I go there and he just like jumps on me and hugs me and tells me I smell terrible, and
Right?
if I've ever touched my cat's butthole, like I genuinely laugh. Like I laugh with him more. Like, and I don't have to fake laugh. Like
Right.
when you go to work and someone tells a terrible joke and the CEO, and you're like,
It's legit. There's
It's
legit.
hilarious, man. So I feel presence, and
Yeah.
I think you feel like childish again, and like it releases some of that like feeling of, it makes me feel like I can at least trust some human,
Yeah. Yeah. It's beautiful. Human and animal. It's a perfect example. I mean, children and animals they're the most innocent creatures on the earth, right? So, yeah, they're authentic. They're not going to lie. They're not going to BS their way around anything. They're not going to tell you what you want to hear most of the time. And they're just going to love you because you're there. Yeah, it's beautiful. Any other ones, you guys? I love these are great get to know you pieces, anyways, too. But I like to learn. RJ,
Mine is painting, actually.
really? This guy is so surprising. Check him out.
Yeah, no, I end up forgetting it, from like over periods of time. But it is very much like when I was dating this girl for a long time. We were like living together and stuff. That she could tell, like if I would go like a few months without like painting, I would get like cranky. Oil.
Really?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to
Wow.
do later.
Okay, so what's the release?
I don't know. I mean, I just had a need to express like that creative gland, I guess, just to, I guess to feel accomplished. I don't know. I just need. I don't know. It seemed more just like I needed to do it. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, you're explaining it beautifully. I know you think that you're stumbling, but you're not, because when we have something that it gives us the ability to express, whether it's creative or not, it doesn't matter. But if it gives us that release of expression, you guys, talk doesn't always do that. Yes, it's good for us to get things off our chest, to figure things out, to strategize, to coach and reframe things, yes. But if we don't have something to emotionally release whatever it is that we're housing, because guess what? Our bodies hold on to everything. Every kind of past trauma and mental, emotional, spiritual pieces, those things, if we are not active in some sort of releasing and rebuilding piece consistent enough, it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be every single day, especially when we're in our dark holes, and we're going to talk about that. But if we are active in it and acknowledging that piece that helps us, you guys are going to be way, way more ahead of the game. Like, way more ahead of the game. Okay? Right? Like, well, and Madison sings. Did you guys know that?
No, I don't know if I want to hear that.
Yeah, Brad, graduation. Sorry, baby. I have a hard time letting people keep their talents under a bushel. I'm not going to do it. Right? Right? Okay, so you guys, let's look at this a little bit deeper. So we're going to find some clarity here, hopefully. How many of you have read this book? It's like it's like Dr. Brooks's Bible. Untethered Soul. This and The Way Out. Those are his Bibles. Okay? Who's read it? Has anyone? Okay, you guys. Michael Singer. Because this book's.
Because you're a singer?
Good job. Okay, Untethered Soul. This is where this next piece that we're going to talk about, this is where I'm pulling a lot of the information from. This book, to be honest, because Dr. Brooks has loved this book for years, and like I've told you, I've been at the Bridge for collectively about 10 years, and so I have tried to stay up on all of the literature that we like to look at and that a lot of different providers enjoy kind of connecting with. And so I thought, okay, I've got to read The Untethered Soul. You guys, I could not get through this stupid book. I got to a few chapters in the first 5 or so, and I was like, this guy is crazy. He does not know me. He does not know how my brain works. How dare he tells me how to do these certain things that I struggle with so bad that I already know I can't do what he's telling me to do, right? I was having a really bad attitude about it. So I had restarted it several times. I finally got through it, and there was something that really resonated with me. It was the hardest part, and we're going to go over that. How many of us realize, and I know everybody does, that you have a negative roommate that lives in your head? Yes. Rent-free. Rent-free. And right, and guess what? They came somewhere, and we don't even need to know the origin. We just know that somewhere in the past, whether it was when we were kids, teens, preteens, tweens, whatever, something bad happened. Now, a lot of us have had some really extreme pieces happen, and some of us have just kind of quirky, weird, negative things happen, and it sticks. Because we're young. Our minds are moldable then, right? They're still figuring things out. We got neurons and synapses, and here I go Tyler Burton on us. But here we get stuck when something happens, and it gets connected up here. Whether or not it's true doesn't matter. It's the feelings that were connected to it, the emotions that were present in that experience that starts a narrative. Enter roommate. Okay? Mine, oh man, she kicked her beanbag in the corner, grabbed all her favorite little Debbie snacks that I try not to eat, and she just sits there and loves it, right? And she knows exactly how to get me all topsy-turvy. She knows how to pull me down into her world of despair. Do you guys relate? Thank you, Dominic. Okay, now we're going to find out how we can get a little bit more clarity in these mind pits. Okay, we're going to look at how we can engage differently with this roommate to help us kind of be a little bit more aware of reality. And then we're going to look at that mind-body connection. And a lot of you who have met with me, this is what I love to do. I love to figure out how to get the brain and the body talking just a lot more logically, because I am not a logical person. And so for me, stepping into logic is very powerful for me because it helps all of those biological responses start to chill. Okay, so we're going to learn how to do that a little bit better. Okay, so the mind pit. Okay? Our roommate. We engage with this roommate in a couple of ways. I want you to tell me which one you engage. I'm going to give you 2 examples. Example 1. The roommate comes onto the scene. They start spilling their information. They start giving you all the lines that you've heard for years and years and years, and we just succumb to it. I know I'm not worth it. I'm not enough. I can't do this. I'm never going to get better. This is where I live. This is what's happening. I'm never going to not be depressed. I'm never going to, right? And we're using the words never, always, can't, should, shouldn't. Notice the key words. That's one way we engage. We give him or her the power right on set. The second way we can tend to engage is if we've gotten a little bit more aware, right? We've become a little bit more aware of things. We're a little bit more mindful. And we know we don't want to listen to that roommate. We're not supposed to. But the roommate's still there, and it's still affecting us. So as soon as our roommate starts talking to us and we start feeling all the feels, we put up our dukes and we're fighting, right? We're like, man, what are you doing here? I've been doing all this work. What is wrong with me? I can't get better. I've been working so hard, and this is just a mountain I am not climbing.
This is like something, I mean, when I met with you, and also it seems like a common through line from like everybody that we've been meeting here, that there is this other thing that I'm still struggling to figure out what's what, but are you saying that we don't get rid of them at the end of the day, even when?
Maybe not.
You know,
I will never guarantee you that you will get rid of them. What I will guarantee is if you put the practice in, you will be the one in the power. You will be empowered. You will know.
Brooks was saying, like every morning, like he gets in his car and like the voices are all still there, but he's the one driving. He never hands the driver's seat over to.
Yeah. And the sooner that we can face that reality, that is where empowerment starts to grow. When we get stuck on the expectations that are probably not realistic, especially when it's something that we've been dealing with for so long, if we have an expectation to have it completely disappear, you guys, I love you, but I'm not going to lie to you, it's probably not going to happen. Okay? In fact, 99% of the time it won't. What will happen is the tools that you're gaining, the perspective that you're starting to get into, will cause a shift that will give you the desire to start to do the work. Every time that son of a bee in the head starts to give you crap. Okay? Now, who related with both of those engagements? Okay? Number 1, the succumbing. Who does that? Number 2, the fight, the panic, giving yourself, you're not even listening to them, you've just given yourself panic and that's how you're engaged, and you put yourself down that way. Okay? I think we all do both of them, right? And especially now, you guys, be aware, the knowledge that you're gaining now, that roommate, they're going to keep trying, and they're going to just fill you full of baloney. That the moment you start to step into trying to address that piece, you're going to get, oh my gosh, seriously, you think you're going to be able to do this? You're never going to get better. What? Right? And you just laugh. Just start to laugh, because you know what? Remember my voice is so lovely, right? And saying, oh, Teniesha told me this would happen. I'm doing it right. Rad.
it's kind of happening right now.
Right? See? Perfect. We see it. We observe it. That's all. Guys, there's so much power in observing and validating it, seeing it. That's it. Now, this was the hardest piece for me in reading this book because Michael Singer talks about getting to a place of observance with this roommate. He wanted me to observe. Now, you guys, okay, Energizer Bunny, hated going to bed, had to jump rope to get tired enough to go to bed after a full days of building huts out in the desert, right? I could not fathom the idea of observation because to me, still kind of now, to observe means doing something like this. And inside I'm like ready to scream, right? I can't stay still and I can't be quiet, you guys. They're just impossible for me. So I kept really rejecting him in this book because he kept talking about observing. And I was like, I cannot observe. What is wrong with this guy? He only knows a certain percentage of people in the world, right? Now, something shifted for me because when I thought about that roommate in my head, I started to learn that I needed to create a relationship there. This is what I mean by relationship. The first step you do to learning how to observe in an empowering place, from an empowering place, name your roommate. I want you to give them a name. Now, there's a trick to it, okay? Your roommate is not going to be given a name that you hate or loathe or can't stand. Why? Well, yeah, and you already can't stand. I mean, your roommate's already negative anyways, right? So why give it a name that you can't stand or hate to just amplify everything, right? No good. Do not give it a name that you love and that's fluffy and wonderful. Why? Because you can't stand your roommate, so why would you give it a happy name and ruin the name, right? Now, here's the trick to finding the right name. Find a name that brings up maybe memories, maybe mine. I'm going to share mine here in a second, and some of you will really appreciate it because I think I've already talked about this series to someone before. But someone you can't take seriously. That's almost kind of got like that ridiculous like reaction to it, right? Who likes Friends, the sitcom Friends? Okay. I am a huge Friends fan. And when I was searching for a name for my roommate, I love Joey. I love him too much. Janice. Does anyone remember Janice? Chandler Bing's girlfriend. So Chandler Bing, one of the main characters, he was his girlfriend off and on for a while. Chandler's. Matthew Perry. God rest his soul. Yeah. So Janice, you guys, and seriously, if you don't know who she is, when we're done and you're at lunch, get on YouTube and look up Friends Janice, and they'll have all these little clips so you can watch her. Okay, she is. I'm loud, but she is loud. She is kind of just irritating. She's obnoxious. She gets in your face. She gives you no personal space. Her hair is ginormous. She's crazy in the way that she dresses, and she is just. There is something about her that just makes you want to scream. And yet there's moments where you kind of like her. Like you just can't decide, right? So when I connected with Janice, I was like, this was my reaction. Perfect. Now, when you're searching for a name, that's the kind of reaction I want. You want to be able to have a little bit of a, oh my gosh, yeah, right? Think about it. I want you guys to have a name before you leave here for your roommate, okay? So that's step number 1. Name your roommate, something you can't take seriously, okay? Now, this is what started to happen for me. After I named my roommate, when Janice started talking, this is what I started to do. Now, remember, I have to really be aware that I'm doing it at first. And so, you guys, it is kind of hard because it's something that you very consciously have to put work into for a while, but I promise you if you're consistent, it will naturally start to happen after a while. Janice enters. Here's me. I'm the empowered one, okay? But I'm used to getting in a fight with her, so she usually ends up with the power. But this time around, I'm doing it different. She walks in, and I go, Janice, what's up? Your hair is huge today. How much hairspray did you use? You have lipstick on your teeth right there. I love the heels. I have no idea how you walk in them, but I love the feathers. Nice boa, right? What am I doing? I'm engaging in observation of my roommate.
Oh, yeah.
See that? So I wasn't having to just sit there and, oh, there's Jana. Yeah, there she is. Oh, she's telling me that. No, it's not true. No. I allowed myself to be actively engaged in observing her, which didn't even give me time to sit and hear what she's trying to tell me all of the time. Does that make sense?
Wait, processing that. Can you say that again?
It's fine. So when we make an active engagement of our roommate, right, when they come onto the scene and they start to give their spiel, if I actively start observing them, what they look like, what they sound like, what they're wearing, I am standing in a place of empowerment because now I am not engaging in one of the two ways that I've always engaged before. I'm busy doing something else, right?
Does that mean like understanding why, when like the thoughts pop into your head and why, or like I don't know.
No, we don't have to know that. All we know is that we know when our roommate enters, right? Do we know when our roommate enters? What are our thoughts? Where do we go? Yeah. Right? We get into our pits. Those are our mind pits. And we have that same we have ruminating thoughts. We have ruminating ideas. We have beliefs that we think are real. And logically, we can actually say, well, they're kind of not, but I just feel this way. Right? That's the difference between knowing and believing. You can know something up here, but believing it, you feel here in the body, right? When you're really, really like testifying of something, where do we put our hands? Chest, stomach, right? Go with your gut. My heart talks. That's the believing part of us. We are often caught in the lies that our mind, our roommate can deliver because they've just gotten us stuck up here. And no, I mean, there's no blame, there's no fingers that need to be pointed, and that's part of the point is if we can put that roommate in just a neutral space without judgment, without, this fierce hatred or this feeling of being completely out of control, if we can just have it in this neutral space of acknowledgement and validation, giving it a name, noticing what they look like, noticing what silly outfit they have on today or what joke they just cracked. I mean, that's why I really like characters like from some of your favorite movies or comedies or, maybe someone you know, because then it can lighten the load, right? Lighten the mood. You guys lighten up, right? We've got to lighten up when we get in those spaces because it is so easy to just stay dark. I want you to think about something that you've wrote on your list that you like to do and a positive emotion that they connect you with. Now, here's two scenarios. When you're feeling normal, right, whatever that is, or you're not caught really dark in that pit, how active are you in one of those things?
Yeah.
It's easy, right?
Yeah, you're engaged, you're present,
Yeah. Now, go ahead.
What if those things are actually ways and mechanisms to get you out of that pit?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You can be in the pit and just focus on one of your happy places.
Yeah.
Right? And that helps bring you out.
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly my point. Thank you for that. And where it seems overwhelming, I know, because some of us, when we get into that dark space, we can't move, right? We can't get out of bed. We can't, it's not in us. Now, this is when, you guys, I am the firmest believer in simplifying. We're not required to do, if we're out in a normal wave of life moment, right, in a normal season. And we play pickleball 3 days a week. Awesome, right? I go out there 3 days a week. I play for a couple hours. It's the bomb. I feel so good, right? And all of a sudden, roommate starts talking, something triggers, something's happened, and it kind of brings us in. We're starting to fold. Right? And we get into our dark space. We don't have energy. We don't have motivation or ambition to go out 3 days a week. Can we give ourselves a promise that if we're in that space, we will still go out 1 day a week for 20 minutes? Can we mold, right? Can we adapt to the pieces that actually give us the empowerment, that make a change? Can we do it even in a very simple form with the promise that I will give you, because I'm just so great, right? With the promise of knowing that it will help you to come back out.
I remember when I was in rehab and my nieces came to visit me and they were young. I wasn't like effed up on drugs every time I had seen them for the previous like couple of years. But
Yeah.
when they came to visit me at that rehab, it felt like it was the first time I was seeing them, like meeting them. It was just crazy.
This is so clear.
I just recognized their faces. I just saw every like expression and their hair and how long it was, and it was like just a weird. It was almost like powerful, like my eyes were open for the first time in years. And
So awesome.
yeah, but it was wild. Like
Yeah.
for some reason that was the first. And then when I got home sober for a number of years before slipping up, it was the same with like mountains and the sunset and like shit was almost so bright. Like you have like a yellow notebook out of rehab, and I was like, I didn't wear
Blinded.
sunglasses.
Blinded.
Interesting, yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, Keith.
Yeah.
I love you, man. I do.
Yeah.
Just trying to adopt the belief that regardless of how often I'm engaging in some of these pieces, giving yourself the promise that you will have a plan to engage even when you are in the mind pit, right? And you look at, and this is why you guys, and I will the last week when I do another lecture and we talk a lot about plans and how we can look at things when we go home, because you guys are in a bubble here and you're going to pop the bubble, right? You're going to pop it. But I want you to see where you were pre-bridge, and when we go home post-bridge, we are adjusting our lives from the pre-bridge, not from at bridge, because it's not realistic. We have to look at the pieces that will be realistic for what we're facing when we go home. How can I engage? And I want you guys to keep going on that R&R list, okay? This is my challenge to you. You might remember things when you're at home in your room tonight. Start writing things down that you like to do. What's the positive piece they give to you? Some of the new things that you're engaging here, write it down, positive piece that they engage with. And then we're going to do another step on the last one, the last lecture. But start writing it down, because we want to get to a space that we can know what does what for us, so that we always have an empowering tool, right? And we do all the other things that are helping us. But you guys, these are pieces that are just inside of us that no one else influences. Where are we so often relying on for reassurance and strength? Where do we often go to? Other people, outside sources, right? How much money am I making? What ladder am I climbing at work? Who's noticed me? Who's hearted me on Instagram? Blah, 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 right?
When it's internal, it's kind of unstoppable, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's only you that can actually produce that piece. Yeah. And the more that we're able to produce that piece or know how to get to that piece, you guys, the roommate may not completely leave, but you know how to put him back in that beanbag, right? You know what steps to take to give him kind of that, and you don't have to be mean with them, because you guys, Janice is part of me. She's not who I am. She's not who and what defines me, but she's there because something happened to me that put her there. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Embrace those parts of you, right? I give her a little hug. I tell her she's got lipstick on her teeth and just don't talk so loud, lady, right? And I gain power. I gain enlightenment. I start to see things clearer and know truth from reality from fiction, right? Fact from fiction. That's what I was trying to find. Fact from fiction, I know that. I can see it and know my biological responses don't always correlate, but because I can see it and I understand it, and I can engage in something that helps to bring me power inside, I can start to know how to navigate the whole scenario so much better.
I don't know if this is more like for a personal session or not because it's about me, pretty, but
We like you, RJ. Go for it.
but like I sort of feel like I have been defined by that other. If I'm properly identifying this other person, that sort of has defined my life up to this point. So I almost need to like have new ways to find these things that you're talking about that I don't know. I don't like. How do you find like new ones? Is it like I'm trying to like
Google.
You'll wait till like week 2 of this. You'll
Research. Get yourself actively. Start writing what you start doing, RJ, because I've had several people that I don't know what I like. I don't even know what I feel when I. Oh, guess what? Now your R&R is research for R&R. Hey, so now I'm going to start. What have I always been curious about? What do I want to learn more about? What did I do when I was little? I can't remember. Ask my mom. So now we start researching pieces because now that becomes an R&R because we're actually doing something to empower a part of us that we didn't actually realize we had the strength to control.
Yeah, and I think when I went to rehab, I was like 35, and I felt the same way you did, dude. Whereas like that's my identity. I'm that like wild child, party animal, drug addict, like the funny, big-hearted dude that gets in so much
You
trouble.
guys all are, Keith. You guys are the best.
But it was like that was my identity, and I felt like how could I change that and go back to the real world? And everybody in rehab is scared of the bubble, and when they go home, what's going to happen? And I was like, you know what? F it. Like I can be a different person, and it was wild that you can, even though you think when you're 35 or whatever, at 40, it doesn't matter the age, that you feel this weird, like, oh, I can't change or I can't be a different person, but you get to choose who you want to be. And at first, it feels a little weird and like not a little foreign, but like the more you practice things, and then all of a sudden that becomes your new identity.
Yeah.
You know, like the old one, dude, it was gone from me for a long time, and weird to say that, but my new identity became what defines me post rehab for a number of years.
Yeah.
But I get your fear of. Yeah, it's not the easiest concept, but it does.
It's not, and that's why
tough for me.
it is. Well, because and this is why I restarted the book about 4 or 5 times, RJ, because I felt the exact same way. I was like, dude, I can't do this. Like these negative parts of me, I don't have any idea how to get rid of them. They're like my curse, right? It's who I am, right? But the funny thing is the more I started to step out of just, and those of you who've met with me, we get into that little observant piece, and I start asking questions. Who's talking? Oh, Janice, there she is again. Okay, well, what's she got going on today, right? So we almost start to entertain ourselves with the practice, right? Let that be part of it, and it does take a lot of practice. It has to be a consistent piece, but I promise you, before you know it, you will automatically have your good, because guys, guess what? You have good roommates too. Did you know that? You have good ones too. They're just not quite as loud as the negative ones. And like we've already talked about several times, those negative pieces seem to be the more powerful ones for us. We get more stuck on those, even if there's more positive to actually be seen.
100%.
Dominic.
So I just want to say, RJ, there was a little negative self-talk there, and honestly, as an observer, I have negative self-talk all the time, and that statement, this is really tough for me, is actually a hidden way of you putting yourself down. And all you have to do is try, and it will become less and less tough for you.
Interesting.
So that's your thought.
Just keep trying. Just keep swimming. It is. It's the try. And you try, and you might not do very good the first few hundred times, but you just keep trying. And guess what? Because what else are you going to do, right? Oh, yeah, oh my gosh, that seems overwhelming to have to do, and it's going to take a long time. Yeah, it probably will, but what's your alternative? I promise you there's not an easy button to push and have it go away. I will promise you that. Me too. Okay? Awesome. Okay. You guys, this is awesome. You guys are so fun. Okay, who's seen Inside Out?
Yes, it's one of my favorite movies.
If you haven't seen it, is now required watching at the bridge. Inside Out. It's a Pixar movie. It's a kid show. It is so good. Okay, you guys, the reason why, and there's two of them actually. There's an Inside Out too as well. Uh-huh. So it's about an 11-year-old girl. Her family moves from Minnesota to San Francisco. She's 11 years old. That's a very big move for 11 years old, right? That's a big deal. And it's about her 5 main emotions and how they, like in her mind, in her body, and the show's all about these emotions and how they influence her decisions. Well, the thing that's funny is it's not just a kid thing. It is a everybody thing, right? It is so funny because you will relate to everything that the show displays. It's hilarious, okay? I love this show. Again, it's required watching, so before you leave the bridge, you will have a name for your roommate and you will have watched this. Maybe you can have a fun movie night together, okay? Inside Out. So I have 3 of the 5. Anger and disgust I don't have up here because I think these are kind of the 3 main players for what we've been talking about. Fear. This guy's pretty sweet, actually, okay? Fear, I like to imagine fear as having 2 antennas because fear can be protective, right? It can actually protect us. It can actually be beneficial in some ways, okay, in some situations. We all know what the other one is, but what I want to talk about with that other one is fear isn't actually the problem. It's just the plant that came out of the soil for whatever is heavier underneath, right? So like the bulb emotions, if we have loneliness, sadness, despair, anxiety, depression, resentment, revenge, like all of these things that are actually the big pieces, but we just show up in fear. Does that make sense? Fear. Joy. She's the best, you guys. We all want to be best friends with Joy.
That's her name?
It's her name.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
named after.
It's her name and the emotion, right? Fear, joy. You got it, Keith. Good job, man. So Joy, we all want her. We want her to hang out all the time because she feels so good and we love it and it's so awesome, but we only get like these peaks of her and then we kind of or plummet or, you know. Are we documenting? Are we cherishing? Are we in gratitude when Joy shows up? This one, it was my buddy for my 3 years of marriage. This is sadness. Okay? She's a bulb emotion. She's one of those big ones underneath fear. It can kind of come out as fear. You guys hear me talk about this, and a lot of times in individuals, but we have peripheral emotions. Okay? These emotions are what it is that our body houses, stores, when we haven't actually turned to look at them. Because in the peripheral, think about it, when we're seeing peripheral, we kind of see a little bit of what's going on, right? But we don't have the full picture because we have to turn our head to look at it. If we have a peripheral emotion, especially in the negative, it hurts in the peripheral, right? We feel it. Oh, which makes it so much more scary to think about turning our head to look at it head on, right? Sadness was that for me. She was this cute little thing that just hung out on my shoulder all the time, and I felt her all the time. She was like prickly and made my stomach hurt and made my insides feel really heavy, and I wanted to just bury myself and cry a lot. But I couldn't. I was pregnant. I was a mom. I had a husband who struggled, and I was struggling, and it was really scary. But I could not look at her because I was surviving. Human beings are awesome at surviving. Awesome. Stuff and avoid, numb and distract the emotions that are in the peripheral. That's what we do. But when we do that for so long, we've survived for so many years, we're now at the bridge, which we all need to be at the bridge. But this is why learning how to turn and look at those peripheral emotions in a very neutral, non-judgmental, and non-threatening way to process, to let the body process, is huge. And you guys are getting so many tools here to navigate and try to understand how all that works for you. Take note of how your body is processing pieces. Take note of what you can do to move through the peripheral emotions that like to hang out. You guys, they're even if they're negative ones, they're actually there to help. They're there to help us figure out how to move through it and grow. It's the human in us that wants to push, avoid, numb, distract, drink, hide in our caves, right? Numb, cope with it in whatever kind of numbing way that a lot of us get used to doing, that actually just puts us in survival mode, and we don't even know or understand how we can come up to the surface. This is where it all ties back with the R&Rs, you guys. For me, I'll tell you a fun little story here, and then I'm out of your hair. So my husband passed away. We were living up in Salt Lake. And like I had said, I had already drove down to St. George before he had passed at our house up there. And I never went back up after he passed. I couldn't do it. So I had wonderful people that literally loaded my whole house and brought it back down to St. George. But I was living with my parents for a few months. That was the only place we had to go. They live here in St. George, Santa Clara, where I live now. And I knew we couldn't stay there because my parents, as wonderful as they are, they're my parents, and they had known my late husband his whole life too, and they'd been through struggles with him and my brother in their little fiascos for years. And when him and I got married, they were very nervous. They loved him, but they were very hesitant, right? I get it. And then this happened, so they were very angry. They were super angry at my husband. And so feeling safe and supported and feeling like I could show any grief was not possible. Now, I've been already living in survival mode for years, so I was fine. I knew how to keep surviving, right? Now, months later, me and my daughter live in a darling little house in Santa Clara, and I was there alone one afternoon. Addie was with my parents, and I had this urge to turn on music. You guys, I had not been listening to very much music for the last few years. Why do you think that is? I'm a dancer. I love music. Why was I not listening to music very much? I was denying it, and I was scared because I didn't want to feel more of this, right? Music is emotional, right? Music makes us happy, sad, whatever. And every time I was so scared to turn on music because I did not want it to make me feel sad.
Or feel anything at all.
Yes, anything at all. My good coaches, guys, they got really loud at that moment. They're like, turn on music. I was scared, my finger to the thing. Anyways, I streamed some music. And the song that came on I'd never heard before. And now it's my song. Okay? Guess what I did for the first time in years? I danced so hard. So hard. I cried. I screamed. I bawled. I cursed. I laughed. You guys, I had just completely puked on that canvas that I had been holding the paintbrushes in my hands so tightly for so long. And at the end of that 3-minute song, I was a mascara-streaked mess on the floor. But guess what I just started to feel? Joy. So much joy because I had now released the demon that had just been housed in me. And I had now opened room for rebuilding. You guys, our R&Rs can save us. I am walking proof of that. And I'm a 47-year-old mom that goes to Dance Fit 3 times a week, and I freaking love it, right? You guys, it's the best because it connects with my soul. It connects with my mental and emotional pieces that even talk therapy, although, you guys, Dr. Tate is my therapist, and he's the bomb. And I see him every month, right? I do the work, but I never, ever negate having some of those R&Rs in my life, even when I am in the suckiest pits, because I know those are the exact things that will bring me out. I love you guys. I really do. Everybody here, you guys, I hope you feel that. We love you. We want you to do well, and we want you to feel hope. And I feel blessed to be able to be a part of your journey. So please know that I pray for you, whether you believe in that or not. I don't even care, because I do it. And because I love you, and you will be helped. Just be open and allow yourself to connect with the pieces that you forget. Okay? I love you. Have some lunch. And I have a boyfriend. Huh? He was here earlier. Oh, was that what he said? You guys, you're looking at all my private stuff. Yeah, I can tell him to come in. Where's my phone?
I'm fresh and ready.
Oh, I forgot. Whit's calling me. And we'll have to call her back. Here, I'll go grab him, Allison. He's really sexy. Love you. I'll be right back. Just for a second. Sorry, babe. Sorry to embarrass you. Oh, okay. You guys, this is Brian. Hi. He's super sexy.
Hey, Brian.
This is Brian. Brian again.
Nice to meet you.
Everyone just wanted to meet you. I know. Well, we never know whether guests are comfortable with that or not, so we have to be mindful. I love you. You're so tall. Right. I know.
You're so
I'm
like Polly
bite-sized.
Pocket. It's perfect.
I'm fun-sized.
You know where you fit.
I know.
Yeah.
Thanks, baby girl. Bradley.
Yes.
Here, I'll give you this.